Hello and welcome to another episode of It Was Mooney, your source for all things movie, streaming, and pop culture related. I'm your host, Kosi, and I'm joined always by Wani B. And, hey man, good to see you again in studio. Cheers.
Good to see you as always, Kosi.
Salute, my friend.
Good to be here with you all listeners.
Yeah, man.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we're usually we don't usually tell you all this, but like we're recording on a Saturday. We usually record on Wednesdays, but doing it on a nice stormy Saturday evening for you guys. So
some tequilas might be flowing, maybe not.
Some, a couple, but no, it's great. It's great to be able to come out and do this. And yeah, we just wanted to hop on here and talk about a couple things, but specifically some kind of like a Marvel centric episode, because we're going to be looking at that Marvel sizzle reel and talking about some Agatha All Along. Is that right, Juan?
Yeah, so we'll break it down. We're going to do a trailer trash, kind of an alternate trailer trash again.
A little bit different, yeah.
It is a trailer, but more of a sizzle reel for various properties and products that are going to be appearing
a bunch of them, yeah,
on Disney Plus. Specifically, it's more of a Disney Plus sizzle reel than an MCU sizzle reel specifically.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do a review of Agatha All Along, do the full series. It just ended this week, so we'll give you guys our insight into what that looks like and what our thoughts on it are. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started with the old trailer trash.
Trailer trash.
All right, Kosi, let's jump in here.
All right. So just some cool little like backstory on this. So the way this was actually discovered by the internet was actually through an episode of Agatha All Along. Episode 1 of Agatha All Along, there was a thing where I think as of a couple days ago, if you go back and watch episode 1 of Agatha All Along, this minute and a half sizzle reel would show, and it's kind of like, I guess it wasn't planned, it must have been like a glitch, but like pretty cool little mini marketing for Marvel, and then it decided after that just to post it in its entirety online after that little leak, quote unquote leak on there. But yeah, it showed stuff for a bunch of different shows. Let me see if I can get like a little list of the shows here. Real quick, so it showed snippets for Daredevil coming next year. It showed a little snippet also for What If Season 2 coming this year.
Season 3,
coming this year, which I'm really excited for. And a couple animated shows, Eyes of Wakanda, and also Marvel Zombies is another show is coming, as well as a live action show called Ironheart, based on on Riri Williams from Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and then. Really cool. A little animated Spider-Man show, which, I have a little bit of a backstory on that too, but like, yeah, just to see that on the slate too. Like
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man,
yeah. They're really, it's definitely a shotgun blast. Oh, and of course, last but not least, Wonder Man is the one where I think we know least about. It has Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Wonder Man, and they actually teased that Daredevil versus Wolverine is coming to Disney Plus.
Deadpool movie.
Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yeah, Deadpool Wolverine. Yeah, finally coming.
Get confused on those.
Yeah, well, the biggest movie of the year. Yeah, coming to Disney Plus. Yeah, it's a cool
only movie of the year for Disney, really.
Yeah, and it was a gigantic hit, so it made sense that like it's going to be available for all Disney Plus subscribers coming up. So yeah, it's really cool to see all those. Again, it was a sizzle reel, not much. Like it's a minute and a half, like to like showcase like 6 different shows. But what did you think? Like, was there one image or a set of images that stood out to you?
So going through them, they weren't all equal, first of all.
Right.
Ironheart in particular seemed to get a little more of a run. We seem to get a first look at the villain.
Yeah, the villain, played by Anthony Ramos.
Anthony Ramos was Navi from In the Heights.
Yeah, he's actually playing a character called the Hood. It's in this show is going to be kind of like Riri Williams' technology against his magic and how they kind of like.
Is he a magician? Is that the thing?
Yeah, he's basically he's an ally of Riri Williams, so a friend of hers at first, and he just dons this hood that allows him to tap into like dark arts, magic, and whatnot. So like it's kind of like a friend turned foe.
Did they give any of that from the trailer, or is that something you?
Not at all. It's just what I'm reading from my little breakdowns, but just in that little snippet, it didn't really give that off. But.
Yeah, it didn't give off much. It just gave off some pretty generic lines from him about how if you want to do great things, you have to break some eggs in an omelet. I don't know, some cliche stuff.
Yeah, just some villain stuff. But I do enjoy her new suit. Wasn't filmed the Wakanda Forever suit. Yes, her Mark 1 fursuit, but this new white one that she's been cooking up in a lab, I do like it, and it looks a lot better, like visual and CGI wise. So yeah,
it does look pretty cool. The suit. We'll see how it goes. I always thought I didn't love her character in Wakanda Forever, to be honest. It just felt like, I don't know. It just felt weird that we went from Tony Stark being a billionaire, super ingenious MIT engineer building a robot after following up on his dad's, business empire of building weapons, and then this girl in a garage just builds a better Iron Man suit.
Tony Stark did build it in a cave with a bunch of scraps.
Yeah, but that was the crappy Mark 1 that could barely move.
And I think she had a crappy Mark 1 too, I'd say.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it seemed like they were implying her current first suit was superior to Iron Man's final suit.
It's definitely a stretch to think that like a college student can create like this incredible suit.
Random college student. Oh, her dad has a little bit of money, but come on, where does she getting the freaking ability to power that thing?
Yeah, I definitely could see that, and they did, they could have done a little bit better, but they did try to just mention, hey, she's been like, people have been able to scrap like old Atari tech and whatnot and put it together and stuff, so they're trying to like imply that, but
we'll see if they do a better job. It just
feels I think the
like,
show we'll get a better look at that.
I don't know. I hate when comics do this in general, but it's like, we have this established genius character, Tony Stark. Oh, this new character just casually makes Tony Stark like a punk.
Yeah, there's like another smarter person after this.
It kind of made sense with what is her name, Shuri?
Shuri definitely,
because she was working with technology far above his capabilities, right? So it kind of made sense why she was on the next level. But it's like, okay, it's some random college student.
If I'm not mistaken, I do believe she did get help later with it, so I think that's what they're implying. Hey, the Wakandans kind of gave Shuri a little bit of a boost in Wakanda Forever as well, so I think...
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it makes sense why Shuri does doing crazy stuff, because she's gotten to work with pretty much magical materials from day one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I didn't love it. It's like we don't need to shit on Tony Stark to validate new characters.
No, I understand that. Yeah, but I guess keeping on that Wakanda trajectory, the Eyes of Wakanda, another one, they kind of showed us a couple images about that. Again, going by that, we don't
glimpse
little bit of a glimpse. I could just read a little bit of just about what it'll be about. It's going to follow just Wakandan warriors who have to go around the world just retrieving artifacts, like Wakanda artifacts. Remember in the first Black Panther where like Killmonger was, he was saying, hey, you know where you got that spear from? Well, we're going to figure out like, hey, where did that spear come from and all that. So it's kind of cool. Like I thought it was going to be about us following different Black Panthers throughout history, but I honestly do not mind this breakdown in this show, especially with that kind of
the whole
animation.
Thing is just going to be them taking stuff from the British Museum. Wow.
Yeah, like every episode ends with like, "Oh, come on, British people, stop doing this.
Stop taking our stuff, British people.
Please stop doing this." But no, it's really cool. Like definitely, so the team behind obviously Black Panther and all that is definitely going to be working on this. Developed by Ryan Coogler himself. Yeah, he himself developed this series.
That makes me more hyped than it would be.
So yeah, like it looks really good. And also these different animation styles. Like not everything has to be like Show What If. And I like it. It definitely looks different from what we've seen, and I like that a lot with this Eyes of Wakanda show.
Different animation styles. Again, we really don't get a lot of view here, but the first sneak peek we get of My Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. It almost looks like you're watching a moving watercolor.
I guess so. Going into that, the next kind of part of the sizzle reel, they showed us a little bit of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is the origin story of Spider-Man and whatnot.
It looks like an actual kid,
an actual high school 15-year-old kid in here. So crazy thing about that one is this show has been in development like for a while now. They kind of even showed this thing 2 years ago. In a previous sizzle reel, they showed for upcoming Marvel stuff. This is back when Agatha All Along was called House of Harkness. Well, they showed this in sizzle reel and they called it Spider-Man Freshman Year, and it was seemingly going to be about the origin story of the Tom Holland Spider-Man that we've seen. But they've since changed and like done a lot of stuff different now. And now we're going into like this new one. We're going to talk about just the origins of this new Spider-Man persona in an alternate reality. So in this one, Norman Osborn is his mentor instead of Tony Stark. In this iteration,
is he also black?
Norman Osborn is he's black actually. He's gonna be voiced by let's see here.
I forgot he actually is gonna be voiced by a black man.
I'm Coleman Domingo, an incredible actor, great voice, by the way. Coleman Domingo, yeah.
What else did he do?
He was in Candyman. He was also in this movie called Zola. You haven't seen Zola. He's also been in Euphoria, where he won award for. So yeah, he's been in a lot of great stuff. Color Purple. He's amazing actor. So. Love him.
It's good to hear you. Cozy called Norman Osborn being black.
And then Marvel heard us and then cast him in this. But yeah, the animation, I'd say this, it kind of reminds me of those old, remember that old Spider-Man 2005 game? Like the cutscenes from that? Like, it looks like, again, I don't like this, but I like they're doing this. After Spider-Verse, everyone's trying to like search to make that next leap in animation, and I love how it kind of inspired just different people to make stuff. Like we got that Turtles movie that came out that had crazy animation. Now we had like the Wild Robot, like stuff like that, where they're pushing it. This one kind of seems almost like kind of tame. Again, I'm still gonna watch it, but the animation, it didn't really stick out to me as much.
Really, I thought
look, kind of just
gotta rewatch it, but just something about the art style. It just really felt like a moving watercolor painting. That's the best way I can describe it.
I definitely see what you mean in that, like a moving picture comic panel. Yeah.
And I love that kind of stuff. I've seen it in video games more often, actually. Big one, actually, that kind of had a little bit of that aesthetic was a game called Okami.
Okami?
With this wolf.
Okami.
Is that it's a video game. It's a pretty old school video game at this point. It's kind of like a wolf. That's looks like it's in a watercolor painting.
Oh, okay, I see. I see that.
From Japan.
Yeah, it was a
part of the game includes the wolf having like paint-like powers to influence the world.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
It's like an art piece as well as a fun game. But yeah, I don't know. I love that type of style. Like if you've ever played the PS Spider-Mans, PlayStation Spider-Mans, they have some suits that kind of have that same like cartoonish, highly cel shaded type look.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Let me go and actually look at that. The 2005 Spider-Man game, the one I was referencing, or was a different one?
The recent one.
And Spider-Man.
And some that they have a couple comic book costumes, like the suits. You know, you can get different suits in that game. Yeah,
I was also thinking about across the Spider-Verse. They had like different iterations of Spider-Man where it looked like he had like little speckled like marks on him, like he was ripped out of a. Let me see if I could find it.
It's more like old newspaper comics.
Yeah, like that art style. Yeah, man. But no, I'm looking forward to this.
I thought it was. I mean, we don't really see much, but Spider-Man's always fun. And I found the art style striking. We'll see if they pull it off for a full show. But so far, I'm actually really digging the fact that people are taking these risks in animation.
Yeah, me too.
Pixar took over the game. We have all the 3D animated stuff. Shrek, where it looks kind of like lifelike 3D. It's not really stylized that much. Maybe Pixar have a little weird shaped characters and stuff, but Into the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots,
Puss in Boots was one I was actually thinking of too. I just couldn't remember.
Wild Robots. Yeah. Even a movie like Wolf Watchers. What was that? Wolf something. Won an Oscar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't.
Something with wolves.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
It was a really Scottish, or was it Irish or Scottish? I can't
remember. I think it was a Scottish film, quite frankly, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, really striking animation styles, right? It's not like old school 2D painted, anime or Disney princess style. It's very unique.
Yeah, definitely unique to it. Yeah.
They're using the power of computers to, come up with something that, people wouldn't have been able to do before.
Or they're definitely drawing these tapestries over and having a computer kind of fill in the blanks and finish the rest of it. Like you still are able to see like the the hand drawnness, if that's what they call it, come through. So yeah, I definitely like that. Definitely looking forward to your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and that comes out next year. I'm actually coming up. Actually, it's gonna come out debut January 29th of 2025. So looking forward to that.
A little bit sooner on the list is What If Season 3.
Yeah, that's December. So that's like in December 22nd. So season 3 of
really
What If.
soon. I mean, it really felt like What If Season 2 came out not that long ago.
Well, it came out it came out December of last year. So December of last year. So yeah,
I guess shows coming out within 1 year of each other feels shocking now.
yeah, because we're just inundated with stuff.
We're just used to shows taking like 2 years plus to come out at this point.
They develop it, yeah. But the good thing about What If is like it's animation, so like for years they've been kind of had this in the lab cooking up, kind of like Invincible. How like hopefully they won't make us wait too long for that, but like they like keep working on like new episodes in as we wait. So yeah, I'm glad we don't have to wait too long for this third season. Gave us a couple of glimpses of what to expect. I think we saw I think that was Shang-Chi in a cowboy hat. I think
there was a cowboy type scene,
like a western, which seemed kind of cool.
Not a lot. I mean, at this point, we kind of know what to expect. You get a lot of seemingly unrelated shorts, individual episodes,
which I love,
of twists or even sometimes unique characters, like the Native American character that came cool out in season 2, and then towards the end, it kind of brings it all together. I
kind of actually liked how they told a bunch of anthology different stories that didn't even connect. I kind of wanted them to just keep doing that, but in season 2 I definitely saw like they wanted to tell a story.
I kind of like that you can watch each episode as an anthology without it being related.
Correct. Yes.
But that at the end it is said, okay, let's try to bring it together.
Right.
Like you don't have it's not clear watching it through that there is going to be a link, that there are going to be obvious hookups or obvious meetings. Right, it really does seem like each of them are going to be their own things for most of the season.
Right.
But I feel like those finales where they do bring it together,
they shine. Yeah.
It just feels like it adds a little more stakes. Some of the episodes, like the whole concept is fun, but the episodes can feel uneven.
Yeah, you do run the risk of that. Where if it basically with the anthology, the risk is if there is an anthology episode that isn't as strong as the other ones, it's definitely glaring. It's like, okay, why do we have this random one that isn't as good? You run that risk.
Like a good comparison is Love, Death, and Robots.
Love, Death, and Robots is Netflix. An amazing anthology series.
But frankly, that it's just at a higher level. Right.
You know what? Yeah.
It's just done at a higher level. So those do have weaker ones as well, but the strong ones are so thought provoking. The strong ones in Marvel, they're fun, but they're not gonna leave you, thinking about the. It's just like, here's this fun twist on a Marvel story. It's not like a good Love, Death, and Robots. If you remember the one where the guy got stuck in a warp drive and got shipped to a planet light years away, and then some the living being there, some kind of weird spider being.
Yep.
Try to actually make him feel at home and try to make him feel not so bad, and then it's like, whoops! That shit was horrifying. Yeah. That shit stuck with me for a long time.
It went from horrifying to where it had kind of a message about our military. The one I remember was the one about those military guys
the Cthulhu ones?
But they were also wolves. They were used by the military to hunt.
Yes, the werewolves.
Yeah, it kind of.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, they have something to say. Both, it was a really cool horror-esque episode, but it had something to say about our military, how we treat our soldiers.
They have a message.
Oh yeah,
they're thought-provoking.
Definitely.
What If is more fun than thought-provoking?
Which it's doing its job.
That's fine, but I do feel like that's where having those interconnected finales adds a little more meaning, so to speak. I don't know if meaning is the right word, but it just makes it feel like even the not so good ones were at least worth seeing what happened.
Right.
You're not getting some thought provoking oh wow, I'm gonna have to go think about what happened in this episode. But you're also some of the forgettable ones you still now you have the guys link up, so now they mean something.
Right. No, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I think it adds a little bit. It's not as good as Love, Death, and Robots, but it's been a fun series.
Yeah, I've loved the What If series, so definitely looking forward to season 3.
Like the one with Hella with.
Yeah. When her and Ten Rings. Yeah,
Luke
that was
Kang,
great.
Not Luke Kang.
The Ten Rings.
The Ten Rings guy. I forgot his name.
The Mandarin.
Yeah, the real Mandarin.
The real Mandarin.
Oh, the guy that does not actually call himself the Mandarin.
Not Trevor Slattery, not you. We'll get to you in a second.
Because he's in this, isn't he?
Well, he's in another show we're gonna get to.
But,
yeah.
Okay, so what's next before we get to that one?
Marvel
Zombies. Let's do that one first.
Just a little bit again because we kind of like Eyes of Wakanda. We kind of got like a little bit of like a little.
It looks like Land of the Living Dead, but zombies. Marvel,
yeah.
I should say. Sorry.
Yeah, they definitely touched on it in in the What If season 2. There was an episode like all about that one
with zombies. They had a zombie.
Yep.
I wonder if it's just gonna be an extension of that. I don't know how you make
like
a whole episode series out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, so
we'll
just real quick one before we go on. It's just to answer your question. It does continue from the events of What If. So yeah, it's gonna just continue from just what they established there.
Weird, and it's gonna be a whole
series, a mini series. It says.
Miniseries better mean 3 episodes. I don't know.
Probably 6, like kind of like Agatha All Along. So like a 6 or no, I'm sorry. They said 4, so it'll be 4 episodes.
See, that makes me feel better.
So a 2-hour movie cut up into
about
4 pieces.
2.5 hour movie.
Yep.
I guess. I can see how that might work.
Yeah,
I was saying a second ago. I mean, for me, I don't know about you, Cozy, but zombie stuff is a little played out.
It kind of reminds me of how everyone was so enamored with vampires back in the late 2009, 2010s.
Yeah, but
we're everywhere.
Even vampires too. Like you don't really see vampire stuff much anymore.
But you definitely still see zombies because it's like it's sustaining.
But do you, other than Last of Us, and that felt more like
The Walking Dead is kind of like teetered off.
Walking Dead is pretty much dead, bro.
Yeah. No pun intended.
I think they still come out with stuff. But what was the last time you heard somebody seriously talking about what was going on with The Walking Dead?
There are more spin-offs with The Walking Dead than like The Walking Dead itself.
And I think they're gonna like bring Rick Grimes back.
They gave Daryl a show within some other lady's show.
I think they were giving Carol a show.
No. So Carol has a show, but now Daryl has a show inside Carol's show. Kind of.
Yeah. See what? Bro, this show needed to end close to 10 years ago. This shit was popular when we were close to college, man. I think this was popular when we were in college.
Spoiler alert to everybody for a 10-year-old episode. Yeah, I just stopped watching when they killed Glenn. I'm like, you know what? I'm out of here, bro.
The comedian killed Glenn?
Yeah, I stopped.
I stopped watching before that. I stopped watching when they were about to introduce a comedian. I was going to, and then I just kind of...
Oh, I'm sorry. His name is Negan. His name is Negan, guys.
Negan. The actor who played
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is amazing.
Yeah, the actor who played the comedian. Sorry, inside joke. Whenever we refer to Jeffrey Dean Morgan, we would say the comedian.
Solid joke.
That was his first big role, and he killed it in that role. You know what else? He fucking killed it
in Watchmen.
In Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
One of the best parts of that movie.
He was a despicable guy, but the way it was portrayed was like you kind of almost like felt for him.
He's a despicable guy who you can kind of relate to.
Yeah, like in the big. Oh man, that opening sequence when he's like fighting that intruder guy.
Ozymandias.
Another spoiler for a 15-year-old movie. Yeah, Ozymandias.
For a 30-year-old book.
Yeah, but like that was an incredible fight, and like how like he was. You see, he was already
to the tune of Unforgettable.
No, he's watching an infomercial that's playing this. He's just flipping through because he's so just disheveled and just through with life and just beaten down, and then just. I know we're getting into Watchmen talk. It's such a great movie, but like he's just so like. Oh, someone's coming to kill me? All right, cool, whatever.
Somehow we jump from Marvel Zombies to
Watchmen. You know,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is
he's the through line.
Killed it in The Boys as well.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. Hey, for all you Supernatural fans out there, killed it in that too. So like he's a great actor. So love having him. But back to Marvel Zombies.
Yeah,
definitely. I don't know. Are you? I'm excited for this, just based on what I saw.
I'm honestly not, to be honest. To be blunt, it could be fun, but I don't see what kind of creative spin Marvel's gonna put on zombies. Zombies plus superheroes doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. Personally, it's kind of cool to see, like, okay, like,
I will say the zombie episode of What If wasn't bad.
Yeah, it showed us, like, okay, how would these different... It gave us, like, different team-ups I never thought I'd see.
Also, I do appreciate a little funny thing, but I do appreciate how they just say zombies. So many shows these days go out of their way to be like, oh, it's not zombies.
The undead.
It's walkers.
Walkers.
Or these mushroom people zombie
The
things.
infected, yeah.
The infected, or...
From Last of Us, yeah.
You know, whatever else, or like they're or vampires, or... You know what I mean? They go out of their way to be like, oh, no, these aren't just, rotting flesh zombies. Like
Whatever the things were in World War Z, or whatever the hell the things were
they come up
28 days later, yeah.
Yeah, they come up with all kinds of different names. It's like, no, these are zombies. We're going to be outright with it. It's called Marvel Zombies. We're showing you the dead corpses right on the cover. We're being clear with what this is.
Yeah.
Some Plants vs. Zombie shit. And then I think the last one.
Well, the last two. We'll talk about Wonder Man because they didn't really show much.
Let's do Wonder Man last. What was the other one?
Well, Daredevil. I think we should do that one last.
Oh,
we have a lot to say. So Wonder Man, just real quick, because it honestly just showed us a couple things. We don't even know much about. I don't know much about the character anyway.
It doesn't look like an actual Marvel show,
yeah,
like MCU show.
It looks almost like a meta, almost like, hey, here's an actor and trying to make it in Hollywood, so that's kind of cool. It stars, Yahya Abdul-Mateen is in it.
Disaster artist.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, almost like mockumentary. It's hit. So Yahya Abdul-Mateen, you've seen him in like movies like Aquaman. He was
Morpheus.
He was Morpheus in the new Matrix. He was also in Aquaman as Black Manta. He was in Jordan Peele's Us in a little bit role. He's a great actor. And Ben Kingsley returning as Trevor Slattery. He was the quote unquote like
the Mandarin,
original Mandarin,
the fake Mandarin,
the fake Mandarin, basically the actor. So yeah, it's going to be, I guess, about these two actors that are just trying to. Again, we don't know anything about this show. We know that Daniel Cretton, the guy that did
sure Ben Kingsley was the actor or like an agent or a friend.
No, he's straight up Trevor.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's directed by Daniel Cretton, who did Shang-Chi.
This is in universe.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's about like Wonder Man's an actual. So just real quick, the character of Wonder Man, he's a superpowered man, an actor, of course. Again, I've never heard of him. He has superhuman strength, speed, agility. Again, his whole shtick that he's an actor and like he's part of the West Coast Avengers, joins them eventually. So yeah, it's cool that we're gonna get a new character. A whole lot of Phase 4 was us introducing us to new characters. So I like the actor that they got to play him. That's what got me interested in this whole show. But yeah, we don't know much. So yeah, it's coming next year. It's the last of this string of releases. It's going to come Christmas of next year. So I guess by then they're going to give us some more insight on that. But
it looks like it's the most artistically creative show.
Yeah, it looks like the biggest swing they're going to go for. So I like they're going to save it for last for next year. But finally we're going to go into the big one. Again, they showed us some clips of this, not a lot, but just I'm excited for this the most out of all of them. Is Daredevil Born Again coming to Disney Plus, the continuation of the Netflix show. The whole team's coming back for the most part in terms of like Daredevil, Foggy, Kingpin, everybody. Even they got Vanessa back. So what do you think? They brought the band back together. What do you think just by what you saw on the sizzle reel for Daredevil Born Again?
I don't know, man. I think it's a little on the nose when the first line they say is, "It's been a long time."
Kingpin with the metal line. They got the metal line in there. No.
Yeah, no. I guess they had to do it. What was the other show they did a metal line for recently? I can't remember.
It's become a thing. I think famously Marvel did it when they swapped out Terrence Howard for just another.
Yeah, but that wasn't even
for another guy.
That was hilarious. That's a meta line in retrospect.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm here. Get over it." Yeah. No, I'm talking about like Don Cheadle's line in the second one where he showed up and it was him like, "Hey, it's me. I'm here. Get over it." I like how they just swapped out just another black guy. The same one, according to Ike Perlmutter at the time. He thought that was just the same exact
black guy. No, I know what you're talking about now. That's pretty funny. No, look, they did bring back the gang together. At least most of them. They don't seem to have brought back Karen and Foggy.
No, they are. Karen and Foggy are in this.
Oh, they did?
Yep, Karen and Foggy are in this. They brought back Vanessa, his love interest. Yeah, they famously brought back the Punisher.
They brought back the Punisher. Yeah, wild enough, they brought back the suit after their first introduction of Daredevil into the MCU. had him wear the cookie.
Yeah, like his OG is his
Yellow
yellow and
suit.
the yellow and red suit, which I'm not a fan
It wasn't
of.
even
but-
yellow and red. It was like yellow and green, wasn't it?
No, it's yellow and red. Yeah, it's a yellow and red suit. Not a
It
fan
looked-
of that suit,
it
but
looked
you know,
goofy.
yeah, it's his OG suit. So
The red leather looks a lot better.
you know what's crazy? I'm gonna actually, I will show you a picture of this, and I'll just have to. You guys at home have to use your imagination.
Show me, Cozy.
So Batman. Do you know what Batman's original suit looked like?
Oh my god! Did he actually look like a bat?
Well, like kinda. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find it.
Did he have the teeth and shit?
No, it's like it was a when Batman first came out, the artist, it looked like that. Thank you. Let me see if we can see this right here. That's what it looked like originally.
Wow, it's red.
With that red, yeah, the red with the black. The black cowl apparently was the black cowl over the head has always been there, but it was like red and like yellow with like little purple trimmings almost. Yeah, that was the OG. So I think like even with Batman, even Batman had a crazy OG suit that we're not used to. I prefer Daredevil's like red, classic red and black with black trimming suits. So they definitely brought that back for this.
We've talked about it on here. Marvel's done a bit of a better job recently, but most of the comic accurate suits look. Most of the suits in the comic books would look really stupid.
Yeah,
in real
not
life.
everything translates as well as you think.
I mean, most of them translate extremely poorly.
You know what they got incredibly well, I think they got Wolverine's suit. This one we saw this year. They got
They
that
did a better job than I
strikingly
thought.
well.
But
I was very
frankly, if we're being honest, they did a great job, but not really making it Wolverine's suit, other than just the silhouette or colors. Right, like in the comics and in the TV show, it never felt like he was wearing, like a combat suit with metal.
Oh right, I
with
see what you mean.
Like,
I see what you mean.
With
Yeah.
a metal helmet with big edges on the side of his head. You know what I mean? It looked like it was just like a big part of his head.
Right.
It looked like spandex, right?
Right. And this one they made it like a hood that like
Yeah.
went up, which was a great idea. I like it. Again, translation over.
They
works.
did a great job of making it look cool.
Yeah.
The best example in WandaVision was a good example where they did that Halloween episode with the kids and stuff.
Yeah, showed their OG
showed
ones. Yeah.
They showed actual comic accurate
Yeah, Scarlet Witch and Vision suits. Yeah.
suits, and they look goofy, right?
Yeah,
They
he was
look
like in
very
like
goofy.
shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, but then at the end they show, okay, we're gonna take obvious inspiration from the suit, but make it this cool,
build upon it.
metallic or hard leather looking suit, deep reds. So you now have Wanda in the suit, but it looks like something modern and cool.
Yeah.
Not something goofy from a comic book.
Yeah, they modernized it, make it look tactical, but also something you can still recognize as being
Yeah.
that character.
I
that
like
Yeah, yeah.
how they're going with that.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
they're actually paying true homage. They're not just saying, okay, this looks too goofy to do anything with. But they're not just recreating the suit on screen in a way that would look goofy.
Yeah, and it's going back to Daredevil. I think what's cool about the show is like they're definitely honoring all that stuff, making it like taking the comic to this new iteration on Disney Plus, but also just the story. Like where we just last left him, like Kingpin is like seemingly going to run for some kind of political office, and like he's going to be like in the public eye. And now Matt Murdock is going to cross paths with him, and they have a history that they're going to reference here in the show. So, and then you have the Punisher. So, I'm really, really excited for what they're going to do with this show. The fact that it's coming back, being a continuation of what Netflix so just expertly started off.
I'm very
so,
curious. I'm very curious if it's going to be kind of like a reboot. If they're going to say, okay, we're going to pretend like these are all the same characters and we're kind of already established. And, we're not going to actually follow any of the canon or any of the story, but you obviously know who the characters are, so we're just going to start up from there.
Right. For what I'm understanding, they're definitely going to have that history from the Netflix shows, but they're not going to just be straight up saying, "Hey, remember back when we did this?" But it's like, no,
Yeah,
it's
because it wouldn't
understood.
make sense.
Yeah, it won't. And the showrunners know this, but they're not going to take away the history of these characters that we've seen, which
It's
I like.
a very tricky line to balance because it feels like the kind of thing that, I'm going to go back and watch the old episodes to catch up for it. And it feels like maybe you should watch like season 1 to reestablish who the characters are. Maybe even season 2 so you remember who the Punisher is. But it doesn't really seem like you said, they're not going to be like, remember when we beat we joined up as the Defenders and we were like...
Which I like. They're not beholden to all that stuff. But they're not like straight up like have to. But we all know it's like, hey, everyone here knows what's going on. So I appreciate that. But yeah, looking forward to that.
That's the sizzle reel for Marvel.
They blessed us with that one this week. And then, we're going to...
and then Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Yeah.
Coming to this Disney Plus.
Yeah, in December,
heard both our thoughts on that movie.
Yeah. Honestly, I like this. I like what they have in store coming up in 2025, just on the Disney Plus scale. So yeah, I'm excited.
That's interesting. Nothing big, nothing heavy. Other than I guess their Deadpool would probably be the.
And that's more just an announcement that it's going to be available on Disney Plus. But I say Daredevil would be like I say the biggest.
But that's the linchpin there.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the one where it feels like they're aiming for something big as opposed to the other ones, kind of quirky, interesting shows.
Right.
Okay, so moving forward, it's going to stick on that Marvel
Disney Plus side.
Disney Plus train and review the recently just finished series of Agatha All Along.
It was Agatha All Along.
It was Agatha.
Dude.
It was a great song.
Like, going back like 3 years ago, that was such a banger, right? That song, that was everywhere. Agatha just, taking off removing the mask, Scooby-Doo style from herself, saying, hey, I've been the one that's been messing with you, Wanda. And like, ever since then, we've just been like, I personally just been like enamored with the character and wanted to see what she did next. And the fact that she got a show, when they first announced it, I actually wasn't surprised. A lot of folks were like, well, like, why are you going to do that? I'm like, I get it. She was a highlight of WandaVision, which I think is Marvel's. Well, we'll get into it. I still think it's Marvel's best show so far, but after that, like, she exploded onto the scene with that, and having a show like that follows her and what's going on with her and her exploits after WandaVision, after Wanda kind of like put her in a freezer, basically, like with a magical spell to keep her locked in Westview, and just how she got out of that, and all this stuff, like with the Witch's Road, and this whole thing was like really, really cool to see. So, just what are your initial thoughts on the series as a whole now that we've watched all 9 episodes?
All right, so basic flow of the story is. It's actually pretty funny. Like, for episode 1 is a direct homage to WandaVision.
Yeah, they kind of were poking fun of popular TV shows, and this one kind of went the...
Clearly, we leave off on WandaVision, a little recap. At the end, Wanda fully discovers the strength of her powers. Mm-hmm. She defeats Agatha, and then she basically curses Agatha. She had locked down the whole... town of, what was it, Westview? Westview into the sitcom type world that Wanda was controlling, and she basically stuck Agatha into that world and locked her in and convinced her that she was still living in that sitcom.
She unstuck everyone else, but just stuck Agatha in there. So everyone around her was living a normal life, but Agatha was like trapped in that.
More importantly, like, Agatha truly believed it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she wasn't trapped in a magic world like everybody else had been, where they were forced to play out this stuff even though they were aware that they were, that they weren't actually in the movie.
Yeah. It was so strong that she believed that, no.
Agatha was not aware of reality. She thought she was in this show.
Yeah.
So we open with, I
want to say, going back to episode 1 with that, I love how they definitely paid homage to WandaVision by making fun of shows. This was a direct rip, not a rip, but an homage to the mayor of Easttown.
It's basically, motherfucker, you're supposed to say that same shit. Stole the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, no, it's clearly a rip-off of Mayor of Easttown. Great show, by the way, if you haven't watched it. but clearly, tough old lady cop,
with a funny accent.
Yeah, with a funny accent, single, beats people up, doesn't take shit from anybody.
Always investigating a murder that's in a creek or a body of water. It's like
Yeah.
straight up shots from the show they were able to like recreate.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's not perfect. It doesn't quite toe the line. So it tries to be kind of a parody of the show as opposed to just a straight up send up of it, right?
I think there's a reason behind that, but I'll get to that in a second.
And there's a certain point where there has to be a fine line where, you're making fun of it, but it's funny. Like you're a little over the top where it's still recognizable but funny. Mm-hmm. Think like Scary Movie 1 or 2.
Yep.
Or maybe Scream is a good one, the first Scream. Mm-hmm. This felt a little like it tipped over where it took some of the writing too earnestly to where it just felt like a bad lady cop show as opposed to like a good parody of one.
And I think we're going to go full spoilers with this because the show's out. I think because unlike with WandaVision, which were like what we're seeing were manifestations of Wanda's hex powers, we're seeing these are manifestations of Billy's hex powers. So they're not as polished, not as refined as his mom's would be.
It's still Wanda. It was Wanda that put it in her mind.
No, I mean like what we're seeing here, from what I'm understanding, from what I'm understanding, everything we've seen, even in episode 1, has been a machination of Billy.
No, in episode 1, we're actually seeing the inside of Agatha's mind.
That's still Wanda's? Okay.
No, we're actually just seeing what's in Agatha's mind. They actually showed later on, I think like in episode 6 or 7, that what Catherine Hahn is seeing, that what Agatha is seeing live, what she thinks is happening, where she thinks she has suspects in a jail cell and stuff, none of that's really happening.
Yeah, I got that part. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So that's just in her mind. She's so into the vision that she's visualizing this stuff happening.
Okay. But like the Witches Road and stuff were machinations of Billy's, but not episode 1.
So following, let's continue the plot a little bit, give it a quick overview. So after she gets broken out of that spell by
Billy.
It's Billy, we'll call him teenager. Basically, it's Wanda's son. They don't really tell you at the beginning. It's like they started off as a mystery box where he actually has something blocking.
Yeah, a sigil or a spell.
They call it a sigil. Like he's not allowed to say his name, or other people don't understand him when he says his name. So it's kind of a mystery who he is, where he comes from, what he wants with Agatha. But the big thing is he says he wants to go on the road. Now, the road is apparently this mystical place we go on. We're told to go on where if you complete it, you could a coven of witches, like several witches come together, and they sing the song, and if they complete it,
they get whatever they want.
They get like a wish, basically. You get to make a wish.
A wish road, yeah.
And the teen wants to go on there to be able to make a wish, and Agatha says, okay, sure, yeah, I'll take you on this. Right, and she actually needs to because she's lost all her power. She's no longer this big, powerful witch. Part of what Wanda did was take away all her magic power. And this other witch comes that clearly has a history with Agatha, Aubrey Plaza, who we find out later on is actually death.
The embodiment of death.
Is actually the witch Death, the embodiment of death. First, we don't know, but she's clearly after Agatha, and they clearly have a big history. And then basically Agatha wants to go on the road. It's stated she wants to go on the road so she can get power again, so she can, fight. She convinces Death basically like, hey, wait for me to get my power back so we can have a proper fight for my life. Don't just kill me now. You can easily kill me now if you want to.
I want to say, though, add to that, because in true Agatha fashion still, the witches she's trying to recruit, they know how she rolls. Agatha is the kind of witch where if you attack her, she takes your power and like kills you. So like
that's her special power.
Yeah, she's already like on like a deficit trying to like get people to go on this road.
She like sucks up people's powers when they attack her. Yeah. She wants people to attack her.
Yeah.
So she recruits this coven with the teen with Billy to try to get on the road. And they sing this really cool song, actually. One of the best parts of the show.
Yeah, it's really catchy. Yeah,
it's called The Witch's Road. Y'all should look it up. I think it's on Spotify, Apple Music, all this
Definitely
stuff
on Spotify.
Very catchy. They sing it a couple times. It's actually a big plot point.
And even each episode is like the episode titles are lyrics of the actual song. Like you can follow it like from beginning to end.
Yeah, the actual song is meant to be like not just like a way to open it, but also kind of how you solve the road.
Exactly.
Tell the whole story of it. So all these witches, they manage, it's kind of failed witches or witches with problems, witches down on their luck. They decide to come together for one last job. No, they all know who Agatha is, and they all know she's a witch killer.
Yeah, they're like, hell no, we're not gonna join you.
And again, they're like, some of them don't have powers, some of them have like become frauds. One of them pretends to be a fortune teller, and then it turns out she actually had the ability to see the future, but she's just there's another character that's like that from Harry Potter. The fortune teller from Harry Potter is like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Mostly a fraud, but every once in a while has real visions. So it's kind of a little bit of similar. But yeah, so all these witches come together, and then they get on the road. Turns out
the road's real.
Big spoiler for the show. For the last episode of the show, the road actually was a made-up invention by Agatha.
Yeah.
The song was something she made up with her kid hundreds of years ago, which
lived
for hundreds of years.
Little Scratch and her made up the song.
In this timeline, in this world building, they could live for hundreds of years. So basically, she made up the song with her kid, and some witches started believing that she was actually talking about a magical road.
Yeah, she lured them.
She became famous for being the only person that was known to have crossed the road.
Yeah, quote unquote, actually finished it, but we all know the history. We all know the truth. We
didn't actually. The whole show is not made clear. We think we're on the road. We think we're solving everything plays out like it does in the song.
Yeah,
everything plays out like the actual road is happening.
Yeah, they go through trials and stuff.
They have these trials. Some of them die. It's actually pretty high stakes.
Man, R.I.P. Freaking Kitty from That 70s Show. She was in this. Her character, she was Sharon Davis.
Jo Rupp.
Yeah, Deborah Jo Rupp. Yes, I always call her Kitty. Mrs. Hart, and also Alice.
Mrs. Hart was her One Division name. It's a big joke how they keep Agatha keeps calling her Mrs. Hart, but her real name is Sharon Davis.
Yep.
And she just shows up with the witches to hang out. She's just drunk.
She's like she's not a witch. She's a normal person.
She's just a normal person who just happens to be having some wine. She's a wine mom, and Kitty's hilarious.
She's great.
The 70s show. Deborah Jo Rupp is hilarious. So, sadly, she leaves the show fairly early on.
Yeah, a very surprising early kill.
Yeah, she gets fucked up.
Yeah, if you ask me.
Yeah, the show actually has a surprising amount of stakes.
Yeah.
Most of the original crew ends up dying.
Yeah, 2 of them die.
3 if you count Mrs.
Oh
Mrs.
man,
Hart.
yeah, great episode. Well, the other one, Lilia,
Patti LaBelle.
Yeah,
she was actually last time I saw her was Frank's mom in 30 Rock.
Patti LuPone, yes,
Patti LuPone, that's what it is.
Great Broadway singer, and I didn't know she was a Broadway singer.
Okay,
she was
that's
amazing.
That's where she's famous.
Yeah, makes sense.
She did an amazing job in this show.
Incredible job.
Okay, so we have these different trials. Each of these witches. It's not one of the cool things about the show is that the trials are not only they have a lot of witchy kind of stereotypes, and they play up a lot of witchy scenes. Mm-hmm. They have like a potion brewing scene for the potions witch.
Yep.
But instead, they go like, I need an eye of a newt and hair of something else.
Yeah.
And it's just like common household items.
Yeah, and they wove it into also whatever the thing was.
Scales of fish, and it's that's just lipstick. Get me some flour from the pantry, and we'll be good.
I like how they still had each trial, one trial was almost like a Desperate Housewives type scenario. Another one was like a scary 80s
it's multiple
house.
It's multiple what do you call it? They play with multiple not
genres
just
and TV
not
shows.
just the genre and the tease. Kind of like how One Division did a little bit.
Very similar to
kind of similar, right? But yeah, there's one where it's kind of the Desperate Housewives or a Pretty Little Liars kind of vibe, where it's rich women who have
wine,
yoga classes and they get together to drink wine, and they have these super nice cardigans and these $200 haircuts.
And then they go to the one where they had they're Disney characters, so they had one that's dressed as Maleficent.
Cartoonish versions of fairy tale witches.
Well, straight up he was Maleficent, and then she
one of them was Maleficent, one of them was the fairy godmother,
and then Agatha
one of them
was
the Green Witch from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
The other one looked like the OG witch from Snow White.
Oh yeah. The scary white-haired
witch.
One. Yeah,
the evil witch from Snow White. And that again, so that was more of a mystical vibe.
Then they went to the 70s, and that
they had 70s or /80s type show where they again. So you see the whole, like, all of their clothes change. They all take on an 80s vibe or a fantasy vibe or whatever
it
other
calls
vibe.
for, yeah.
Depending on what the specific situation calls for. You get both, right? At one point, you get the witchy scenes. Like, at one point, they ride a broom. And They kind of mock it and laugh about it. It's like, oh, this is a stupid stereotype about witches that most people believe. This is from witches like 300 years ago. So it's like kind of this send-up
of
witchy
very
stereotypes
self-aware,
where it's clever. Yeah. Right, it's a lot of cleverness.
I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
Or they have a tarot reading, right? They have a tarot reading or like a Ouija board.
A lot of tarot readings. Yeah,
Ouija board. These kind of things were like these traditional witchy things that you'd see in a Hocus Pocus, that you would see in a Halloween Town, other type of Art of Charmed, right? Other types of shows. And it's just they just have fun with it.
It was a fresh take on it, and I like that. Like, we've seen these things before, we've seen these contraptions before, but like it's their take on it, and how again it's still played into the plot and moved the story forward.
It's still played not into the plot, but into the character.
Sorry,
and so each of the trials again moves them all forward, but also moves each individual witch, kind of redeems her, kind of gives her a path forward, and sometimes they're cruel with it. Like, we have one of the witches, the Asian witch. I can't remember her name. Alice. There we go. She has a curse. Her mom supposedly tried to go on the road her whole life because each generation of women in their family was
they're
cursed.
haunted by some demon.
By some demon.
Yeah.
And then they have, in her trial, she overcomes and defeats the demon by using the song, the Witches Road song, because her mom that recorded a famous version of the Witches Road song, right? So it's like this whole backstory to it. And
really great backstory.
And then, we have this Alice. Okay, so she moves on. She breaks the curse. She beats the demon. She fulfills her mom's destiny. And then next episode, she's killed.
Yeah, and an act of like she was taking one for she was taking.
She was trying
to
protect. She's a protection witch. Yeah. And though she tries to protect Agatha, and then boom, as soon as she uses her magic on Agatha to protect her, Agatha steals it. And as soon as she steals the magic, she kills.
Going back, do you think Agatha watching that scene, I think Agatha for a little bit kind of felt bad, but was like, hey, this is what I do, so it's whatever.
I think she felt a little bad, and I think at the beginning she was losing her mind. She was scared. She was freaking out.
She didn't have powers,
I think she was. I think it just kind of happened a little bit.
It felt like it was like, oh no, but
I think Agatha had some. They show her to be a more complex character.
Yeah, she's a lot going on.
She's very villainous. She's openly villainous early on.
She's got the mustache twirl and stuff
down,
and
it turns out, I mean, her plan early on, again, she invented the Witches Road song. Her plan when she got this coven and having the teen helping him, it was not to actually come in and help these witches go on the road. She knew the road wasn't real.
Yeah, she screw him over. That's all it was.
She knew the road was. She had made up the road. Yeah. Her plan was to get him to attack her, kill them all, and take power that way. That's how she was going to get her power back.
Just do that. Like how
she wasn't. She was just taking advantage of the teen. She was a full-on villain. Right, she's a full-on villain.
And I liked how, again, looking back now, I liked how she kind of played hey, to us, we now know that she's never been on the road, but she will act as though she's been on there. Remember when she got the lyrics on, it was with us too, but it was T-O, but 2W. Little stuff where it kind of gave it away.
There were little signs. It
was really
and
cool.
Hints. You could tell, but it felt more it's going to turn out she hadn't actually been on the road. You never You never really got the vibe that the road itself was fake.
Yeah, that's the cool that's some.
And I mean, fake is a strong word because. Okay, so basically, Wanda as the Scarlet Witch has power of creation, and then teenager who turned out to be Wanda's son, who is actually a pretty sad story where some kid on a bar mitzvah having a good time, young kid, dies and has an accident,
a car accident, yeah.
Right as Wanda's hold over Westview, her magic field is. In fact, the magic field is what causes the accident because they get distracted by seeing it shrink. That's right when the kids and Vision are dying. Wanda's losing the little family she made. She's giving it up so that people can be free. And then since Billy's power is mind reading and mental powers, he basically takes this kid who just died in an accident, the 16-year-old kid that died in an accident, and just takes over his mind.
Yeah, and we see it. We see the kid, his heart stop. You hear the heart go, faint, and then, sooner or later, Billy just is in there, and we're just oh.
And he calls out his brother's name.
Yeah.
Cool thing really is, sad, too, he doesn't even know. He doesn't know that's what happened.
Yeah.
He doesn't have clear memories of it. He has amnesia.
Yeah.
He just did it by accident, right?
Yeah,
he just has that much power. He was able to do this.
You know what's kind of crazy? Kind of like, as I've thought, kind of like how Agatha had to just play along in this whole thing. He had to now play along in this other kid's life because he went back home and was like, "This isn't my life," but I have to like make sure his parents don't freak out and just play along and just be him for the next. They said like 3 years, and that's so nuts.
Multiple years. He never he never really knew who he was.
Yeah,
but he didn't. He never got his powers back. So anyway, at some point he gets a hint from Patty from what was her name in the show? Not Alice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, from Lilia. Sorry,
Lilia. She gets a
at his bar mitzvah.
She just random fake fortune teller at his bar mitzvah, trying not to actually be a witch, and kind of embarrassed or shamed by it. And then hiding from it, and then she's the one that gives him the sigil, so he can't say his name to anybody else, so he can't reveal who he is.
And like she didn't even know that she's the one that did it. It's like all these crazy time loop back stuff. It was like
there was a whole episode. Basically, she has the ability to see time out of order.
Yeah,
and then so we have a really cool time loop episode. It plays up there with anything Nolan would do.
It's really great.
Anything any good time skip movie, any time skip TV episode. Always there's only about 35 minutes, but it was brilliant.
It's really hard to do that because you're counting on the fact that you're able to like line up the seemingly loose end to the audience. Because to us, when Lilia calls it out, it's a loose end. We're like, why did she do that? But
it doesn't even seem
retying it back.
It seems a little bit early on like she's kind of losing her mind, or like you can kind of tell she might be seeing visions or something.
I thought she was losing it.
Yeah, you could tell like she had seen some visions. She had told Agatha which witches to bring with her. You could tell there was something, but it seemed to not be fully in control of it.
Yes, because some sounded like warnings almost. Like,
it sounded a little bit loopy at times.
Yeah.
But then it's just cool because you don't really notice it or pay attention to it as it's happening. But then in the episode where it tells her side of the story and reveals everything, they go back and they show these little moments and these little scenes from the previous episodes that didn't feel like they were building up to anything or like they were any kind of mystery box. And they go, surprise. Yeah. Here's a twist. Here's a twist you didn't even realize could be coming.
And a lot of the times when she like gave that whole thing, it was straight up exposition. And in most other shows, I'll be like, oh my god, why are they doing this? But this way, they made the exposition make sense and actually help with the story and explain everything.
And it helped with the character building.
Exactly. It was actually brilliantly handled in that episode.
It did everything at once, where it helped with her character building, showing her life out of sequence, because we see the life as she's experiencing it, but then everybody else sees it disjointed. Like everybody else is experiencing things in sequence.
Yeah.
So one of the last scenes of the episode is actually one of the first scenes that happen sequentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's really clever, and it doesn't lose you. It doesn't lose you.
It could have. It's so easy to lose the viewer. And then again,
it's touching because you also go through her character growth of you see her back as a kid, literally hundreds of years ago, with her first teacher, learning her powers, and then her as an older woman now is talking to her teacher.
Yeah.
That where she's reading as a kid, because again, the kid her saw her life out of sequence.
Right.
So kid her already had seen and experienced all this. And then so now it's going back, and now she's, as an old woman, is trying to get her to be like, hey, help me make sense of this. My powers are flooding back. I had shut them off before. I had become a fraud and was doing fake tarot readings because I didn't want to be a part of this. So help me make sense of it.
And her teacher not only helps her make sense of it, but the teacher gives her the strength to be like, no, you actually had this figured out. I was guiding you, but girl, you had it all figured out. Like, you got this. And like, I love how the teacher gave her that affirmation and she used that. And her sacrifice. It wasn't like it wasn't a sad thing. It was like, hey, she completed her loop. That death was part of it. That death was part of her loop.
It was still devastating,
but it was a win. I think I still saw it as a win because she herself was like, hey, this is my purpose being fulfilled finally. I know what it is now. It's not nothing's out of sequence anymore. She
sacrificed herself out of kindness, and her she got to control and was able to use their power for good.
Yeah, and
instead
nothing
of being
about
afraid
that,
of it. But a part of it where she had lost her coven because she had seen that they were all going to get ill. They were going to get an illness. Mm-hmm. But just because she had seen it and freaked out, she hadn't been able to do anything about it, and everybody had died. Yep. So basically, she had just seen before they had died that they had died, and then they got to die in front of her. You know,
right. So it was extra, double whammy.
Like obviously, the scar that took on her was devastating. It was just wonderful. It was just wonderful the way they built up each of these characters. Even Aubrey Plaza, it's death, but it's not like a lame like. She still has some depth to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like
it's not just a supernatural force.
It's a personification of death, but you have an actress like Aubrey Plaza in the role. Like you got to let her do Aubrey Plaza stuff, and like she definitely brought it to that role and just made it was crazy, sexy, weird, scary, all that stuff.
Evil laugh at the end was incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing. I'm glad the MCU has her in this role. Again, just to go to the end of it, I love how in this series was more about Agatha finally taking responsibility for like what's happening, what she's done over these years.
Basically, the backstory they revealed it in the last episode. The backstory, because everyone else thinks Agatha had a kid and that she basically traded the kid to death, basically killed her own kid for her evil powers, right? To take the Darkhold, the evil book Wanda has at the end of WandaVision, and it plays a big role in the Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness. Mm-hmm. So it plays a big role in that. So the story is what people think, and she doesn't even really fight it. She lets witches think she's this evil person who was capable of letting her own son die so she could get evil powers. And it turns out what actually happened, they don't fully give the backstory, but hundreds of years ago she's pregnant, she's running away from somebody, trying to give birth, and then suddenly turns out she's dating and in a relationship with Aubrey Plaza, who is death. So that's how extra Agatha Harkness is. She's literally dating
death,
the embodiment of death, the literal.
She's flirting
witch,
with death.
The literal witch that comes when people die, and they show her when people die and takes them to the afterlife.
She was there for the kid. That's what she was there for, and Agatha had to beg her.
So she shows up to take the kid. And then again, they have a relationship, and literally Aubrey Plaza goes against everything she's supposed to and gives the kid more time.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the backstory. And then later on, it's nothing personal. Literally, if she gets a few years, and then Aubrey Plaza goes, okay, you had your few years, and then that's it.
Yeah.
She kid is still young, maybe 8 years old. And that's the backstory. It's not any evil thing, but of course, at that point, then she started killing witches, accumulating power.
And that's what. And back to my point. Thanks for giving the backstory for that. But that's why I said this was a series about her kind of atoning for all that stuff. Yeah. Again, with Scratch was unfortunate, but she still, sucked the life force out of all these witches, and now she kind of atoned for it. But I thought was really, really heartbreaking in the end was the fact that she couldn't cross. She ended the series as this spectral ghost with white hair or whatever.
Like a force ghost.
Yeah, that's gonna be with Billy, but she couldn't really cross over because she couldn't face Scratch.
So that was before. That was she didn't want to face death. She didn't want to do all this stuff because she just couldn't face her own kid.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very poignant. Yeah,
it was poignant in a way, but there was a part of it that the finale didn't quite work for me. The finale didn't quite work for me in that, I don't know, it just seemed that there was never any clear reason why she went evil.
Why who went evil?
Why Agatha? Why she was killing all these witches?
I think to me, it's just that, the ability to steal power, to draw power, she was banished out of a coven. Initially, we saw in WandaVision because she could do that. She had that chip on her shoulder the whole time. Even her mom in this show was giving her a hard time as a ghost. So it's it wasn't evil. She was kind of just fed up with people not letting her do her thing, but it's still evil what her thing was. So
I don't know. It might have seemed sense if her kid had died and then she had turned evil to try to bring him back or something. But it just seemed like she was evil before she had the kid. She was evil with the kid, even just going around killing witches, just telling the kid openly, we just kill witches. You even help me do it. Just help me distract them and kind of act as bait so I can kill them. And then after the kid dies, it's like, oh, now I have a whole new way by tricking people with this road song.
Let's keep doing it.
Killing witches. It's like, but you were already killing witches. I don't know. It just seemed like it should have been a turning point for her son dying or something. Like that's like her, like the point where she turned evil or something.
Right.
But instead, it just seems more, or like that was her motivation or something. It just never really was clear what her motivation for killing all these witches was, other than her just was evil.
I think the motivation was just power, her lust for power, and just being on top. And
Yeah, but again, that's just like
if
you're not trying to do anything with the power, then like, what? Oh, you just want to accumulate power just for the sake of accumulating power.
I think she wanted. Well, she wanted to be top witch. So and now that the Darkhold is no longer there. Now there seems to be a vacuum.
Like she's a more full character if you give her something to want the power for. Like, we're supposed to have a redemption arc for her, but frankly, she just kind of becomes nice because this kid, Billy, reminds her of her son and becomes like a surrogate son for her.
Yeah.
And though it kind of warms her heart, but she never really, towards the end, finally, she makes a selfless choice, and instead of sacrificing the kid, decides to sacrifice herself and makes out with Aubrey Plaza, which is a great way to sacrifice yourself. Great way to sacrifice yourself.
It's a sacrifice she never would have done in 500 years. So it's like, that's the development that we're looking for. Like, she got to a point where she's willing to actually do it.
Sure, but even then, immediately afterwards, she comes back as a Force ghost and goes like, this was part of my gamble. Like.
But she's being an asshole. That's just her thing.
But I mean, she is there. Everybody else died, right? Everybody else who died died. She's not a body, but she's still there. She gets to still do stuff. She still gets to be with Billy and be curious and do other stuff.
But the way they explain why a ghost can't go unless even her mom explained it, like, I'm here because I have unfinished business. Her unfinished business is Billy, and helping Billy find his brother is what I'm assuming is why she's still here.
I suppose, but I don't know. It just seemed like it undercut the sacrifice. It just felt like the series would have ended better if it ended at the end of the 7th episode.
Oh, the penultimate episode. Okay,
yeah.
I like that we got the backstory for.
I did love the backstory. I did love the backstory. One other thing too is the one witch who survived, other than Agatha and Billy.
The one that flew away. Yeah.
The priestess. What's her name? The black chick. The black chick that looks like Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah. Jennifer Kale.
That's her real name?
No, Jennifer
Kale is a show name.
Sashir Zamata is the actress name. She's on SNL. Hilarious actress, so did a great job.
Yeah, she was great in this.
Yeah.
A little bit of the comic relief.
Yeah.
She was fantastic. But at the end, they did a big scene where it's like, one with the tarot reading, it was Lilia telling her, like, hey, you're like the priestess. You're going to like play this big role going forward, and then she finally gets her powers back.
Yeah,
a big thing where she had been lost her powers for years, and then she has
a big deal. Yeah,
a very therapeutic release scene where she gets her powers back. Turns out Agatha had accidentally been the one that originally caused them to be stolen, not on purpose.
Just had a hand in it. Yeah,
yeah. So that's how she was able to get her release. But then she just kind of flies away and exits, and then we just don't see her.
You don't see her again. She just goes off.
She has no role in the finale. Even at one point, it seemed like she was going to be like kind of the person that saved them from death or something.
I could see that. Like, she kind of swooped in like Han Solo come in.
Yeah, it just seemed like even Lilia said, like, oh, you have this big role to play. You're the priestess, right? Priestess obviously implying some kind of holy force of good. And then, just that never went anywhere with it.
Right.
And, with Marvel, with all these random characters that leave on the final episode showing up, it's very possible we're not going to see her again for like 2 years, if at all. We still haven't seen Shang-Chi again.
I'm still mad about that.
In anything.
I love
we haven't
that guy.
seen Charlize Theron. We haven't seen...
that's not going to happen.
Hercules. We haven't seen all these people. So there's just another character at this point that... It felt like most of the story was fairly self-contained. I liked that a lot, actually.
Yeah, that was a big plus. Like it was, they told this linear story with these characters here in this small area. It had some, I guess, larger implications, if you want to say that, I guess, for other shows.
It did have some just because of Billy and being related to Wanda and his powers.
And now stuff. Agatha has been a Force ghost now, which is kind of
cool. There's some stuff there, but for the most part, it was fairly self-contained. You only really need to watch WandaVision.
Definitely watch WandaVision
to keep up with anything going on in here. Even if you're not an MCU fan, if you're just a fan of witchy shows, Halloween shows, that kind of vibe. My wife loved it. Well, it was my wife's favorite MCU show easily. It's a very gay show. It's a very gay energy.
No, it definitely knows what it is.
And it's not Disney gay where they say, "Oh, we have a big gay moment," and then it's just one guy vaguely mentioning that he likes men.
No, they have characters that are gay and have gay relationships.
The only guy character is clearly
it's Billy,
like very clearly gay. Like dresses gay, has a boyfriend, makes gay comments.
But it's not. But it's not his identity. He has other stuff going on.
No, it's not his main identity. But
he has other stuff too.
But he's clear and comfortable. Yeah. He's not hiding it at all.
Yeah, and it's just
not ambiguous. This is a guy that happens to be gay, but if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't know. No, he is very clear.
No, it's just treated
from the way he dresses.
It's treated as how it is on the show.
The rest of the women, I mean, obviously the big relationships between Agatha and Aubrey Plaza.
There was another guy on the show. We actually had a Boner sighting, Ralph Boner, Evan Peters.
Oh, Evan Peters.
In a small bit role.
I forgot. Okay.
Small bit role for that. I like seeing him come back. Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time Evan Peters had been in a Marvel property where they made excellent use of the song "Time in a Bottle,"
you would have 10 cents.
I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
I loved how they used that to talk about Lilia's character, but also, come on, we have Evan Peters, Quicksilver.
Come on, if you know, you know. Yeah, if you know, you know. It's one of those things where it's not obvious. It's obviously not clear.
You gotta think about it.
But it's the most famous use of that song in any other popular media of the past decade?
Yeah.
Right. It's a song from the 80s or 70s.
No, from the 70s. It's Jim Croce's "Time in a Bottle" for those who were talking about. In X-Men: Days of Future Past, which is 10 years old this year, Quicksilver, played by Evan Peters, has a scene where he saves James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender's characters, Magneto and Professor X, in like this facility, in like a jail facility, and he slows down time, and it's incredible use of like slow-mo footage with him moving in regular. It was really cool. Since then, it's been parodied and used, and everyone's been trying to recreate it.
There was also the cleverness of having him play Quicksilver in WandaVision. That was when we thought that was going to be the intro to the X-Men.
Or a fake out. He's actually just some actor.
That was an awesome fake out.
Incredible fake out.
That was a real life fake out where the characters wouldn't have known, but just the fact that he was...
The audience knew.
Like, he had previously played Quicksilver in a totally different property.
Yeah.
It was a very meta joke on the audience.
Yeah.
But, I thought that was a fun little thing that they brought back "Time in a Bottle."
Definitely cool usage.
Very niche Easter egg, but it's the kind of thing where if you've been watching these movies, you keep track of all of them. It's a fun little thing they throw in for you.
Yeah. But overall, I love this show. Love this entry.
Overall, I love what it represents for the MCU. Right? It's just it just feels like a release of the expectation that, like, hey, we're going to have this big, huge shared world where everything plays and is connected into each other. Like, right, this is a sequel to WandaVision. Right. Obviously, we had Doctor Strange and stuff, and there's some references to the end of Doctor Strange as to Wanda being alive or not.
Yep.
But other than really just watching a recap or like quick watching it, it's not the kind of thing you have to watch. Remember a bunch of specific details. It's very self-contained.
Yep.
Very low stakes. And not in a bad way. Like, the stakes are very serious for the characters, but it's not, here's
for the world. The world isn't
here's
large.
This world-ending stakes, or how do these stakes affect completely unrelated characters that we still care about? Like, this doesn't affect Spider-Man in any way.
Right.
This doesn't affect Captain America. This doesn't affect... Right? It's not like the Eternals where a big statue comes out of the middle of the earth, obviously causing earthquakes and all this stuff, and then everybody just ignores it happens.
Seemingly doesn't even mention it for 5 years.
Yeah, it doesn't occur to anybody to like pay attention to it. right? So it just feels very disconnected and disjointed.
Yeah.
This feels okay. We're having follow-ups, but now we got a little like WandaVision series, right? So yeah, there's a follow-up to that. So there's like a season 2 to that, but it's not the kind of thing where I didn't watch Echo and I didn't watch Daredevil, Deadpool versus Wolverine, so now I can't watch.
Definitely cool. You're able to come into this kind of fresh. I still say watch WandaVision before this is kind of a cool little like precursor.
Some of the big twists land a lot better if you know what's going on with WandaVision.
But no, just kudos to Marvel Disney Plus shows, and hey, this is a great way to going into What If now with this year and going into next year. I have a really good feeling about Marvel Disney Plus series. So this has been a great series so far.
This is a much better way of doing it than just. I mean, before they were basically making movies and cutting them up into 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Right.
That was kind of getting annoying. Yeah.
It wasn't just annoying; it was bad.
Yeah.
The pacing was off.
You could tell, okay, you just cut this because there's going to be another episode next week.
Oh, you didn't quite feel like putting it in an effort to make this into a movie.
Yeah.
So you just made it cheaper and it extended it so it would kind of make sense as a TV show. It was bad. Yeah. Secret Invasion was the low point, obviously. But
this one, they are definitely in a step in the right direction. So hey, I'm definitely a fan of this, and definitely catch Agatha All Along on Disney Plus if you have a subscription. But definitely check it out, and WandaVision, and all the other stuff they have coming up from Marvel Disney Plus, because you and I are Marvel shills, as you can tell.
I've been mostly shitting on them recently, but this was. I give it a very solid B+.
I definitely give it an A-. Definitely, it's not WandaVision is a solid A, but this is definitely up there as like strong entry from Marvel Disney Plus.
And honestly, I kind of want to give it an A- too. It just almost feels a little too. I don't know, almost cheap.
I got you. I don't know. I love the set design, costumes, but also the sets. The sets were. The road was actually a real road they were walking on. It wasn't it wasn't the volume. It was like they were actually on a road.
I don't know. It felt a little too. Reminded me of stuff like Vampire Diaries and stuff.
I definitely got hints.
A bit of a CW vibe.
I got hints of the movie Hocus Pocus, really, like just some of the sets and how it looked, but not in a bad way.
I don't know.
Just nostalgic.
Maybe I'm just being discriminatory towards it. It almost feels like I'm not allowed to give it a higher score.
No, that's fine. It's just whatever your score is.
Does that make sense?
Your score is your score, man.
I'm gonna change my score. I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 5 witches.
It's like I definitely give this one a 9.5 broomsticks out of 10. Broomsticks. It just hit all the stuff that I like about what just Disney Plus does on these shows with characters, how they do with stuff with Easter eggs and making stuff like mystery box stuff. It did all that stuff that we loved about WandaVision in the first place that made us tune into these shows. It's kind of like almost like coming back true to form of this stuff. So it definitely is a must watch, and kudos to everyone involved in this show. But yeah,
kudos indeed. One of the better MCU showings.
Yeah, but hey,
on TV,
this has been great, Juan. This has been a great episode, man. Like,
it's been a great episode. So
cheers, double cheers.
Plug of the week, guys.
Real quick plug of the week. Plug of the week, because I had from last week, was I wanted to do this thing called on Ultraman. So Ultraman was Ultraman, for some of y'all that aren't familiar with it, it's like a Japanese like series about kind of like Power Rangers, essentially like a Power Ranger type character, like in a suit. So Ultraman had like I can show you. Well, maybe I can show you like a little picture of him, Juan. If you,
that's all right. You can keep going.
No, if you've heard of, like, you've probably seen this somewhere. You've seen that, right? Yeah. So kind of like how Shin Godzilla got its own little like revamp. Shin Ultraman is a movie that came out actually 2 years ago that I have no really like entryway into Ultraman. I remember watching a little episode as a kid, but this kind of like is like, it reminded me a lot of Shin Godzilla, not just the name, but like just how they went. It's like Ultraman, but like a darker, almost like, like grittier take on it. And it's actually it was done in a series. It actually kind of makes sense now, of like Shin Godzilla and also Shin Kamen Rider. The same people that made those kind of like built upon it. So basically, just real quick, it's just about kaiju that are kind of descending upon Japan, and this hero Ultraman, this giant silver like robot thing from outer space comes and fights with them, and like they have these pilots that could like mentally like almost like Pacific Rim kind of sort of what Pacific Rim took from this, like kind of like can link together and fight the robot, these giant kaiju. It's amazing. I love kaiju movies. I love stuff like that, big giant Power Ranger-esque monster fight. So yeah, loved it. I was able to see it just on like a V downloader. I was able to download like some torrents. I finally learned how to download torrents recently. So Shin Ultraman was like one of the first ones that I downloaded, and I loved it. I love Shin Godzilla. If you love Shin Godzilla, you definitely love Shin Ultraman. Just check that out. I don't think it's on any streaming service currently. Again, I got this as like a torrent, but if you can get it, I highly recommend it. So that's been my plug of the week.
Kosi encouraging us to sail the seven seas, y'all.
RMAT.
RDR.
How about you, Juan? What's your plug?
So strange plug for me.
Strange plug.
I want to plug an app.
What?
I'm gonna plug the Nintendo.
Did you make this app, Juan?
No, I did not make this app.
Juan didn't develop.
It's called the Nintendo Music app. It's a new streaming service.
Okay.
It's what do they call it? A full streaming service. Basically, Nintendo released an app, kind of like Apple Music or Spotify, that is just for Nintendo tracks, right?
Okay.
Like, I'm talking about like original video game, like not like remixes or so they have some remixes.
So I could play like the opening select screen music from Mario 3.
Actually, specifically in this case, no, because they don't have every game.
Okay.
But you can play the opening theme from Mario 1.
Super Mario Brothers 85.
Or Mario Galaxy.
Okay, that's
or
cool.
Mario Odyssey. Or Metroid. They actually have some like deep cuts.
Not like, just Mario, but just all Nintendo.
Yeah, they have like
properties.
Nintendo dogs on there.
Oh, cool!
Nintendogs.
I bet their Legend of Zelda stuff is
They have
great.
a couple of Legend of Zelda games. Not all of them.
Not all of them. Okay.
It's the kind of thing where they're clearly gonna build up. They don't want to release everything at once.
Okay, they're launching it.
They just launched it this week.
Okay.
I think on like Thursday or Friday.
Dude, nice.
One really cool feature I like with it is that so most video game music is a little loop, right? Like you're playing a level and it just loops like a 1 minute track until you beat the level, right? Or whatever. So this to kind of play into that, it'll have a feature where you can extend the song, get an extended version of it, and it's not like just repeating the song, right? It's not like simply putting the song on repeat. Like it literally, like you know how like a song has like a little startup and then it fades out at the end, or like a song might have that,
right.
Like it have like the little beginning intro and then it gets into like the loop of the level.
Right.
So that's how the song will work, right? You'll have like the little beginning, like 3 seconds where the song starts up, and then it'll have the looping portion for the rest of the 15 minutes. Does that make sense?
Oh, okay, so you
So it kinda
gotta get the whole song.
So it kind of converts the song from like a 1 minute thing to a 15-minute thing that just keeps looping, right? And then then you can play a different song. Like it'll play a song after that. So you can have a playlist of multiple 15-minute long songs. You just play something for a little while, and then you play something else for a little while.
Okay, I see what you mean.
And again, it feels different from simply looping it, because like with looping, you hear like the beginning and the end of the song. So it's clearly like, oh, the song started again. This feels more like you're actually listening to the video game music, you're just leaving the stage music on while you're playing, and then you're listening to it. You know, great for working, concentrating. Anything video game music is great for getting you pumped up and focused.
So this is called the Nintendo Music app.
Yeah, Nintendo Music. You need a Switch Online membership to get it. I feel like they'll probably change that over time.
I hope so.
To be fair, Switch Online by itself isn't that bad. It's like $25 a year.
Oh, a year, okay.
But obviously, it's not a ton of selection. It's just Nintendo songs.
Nintendo. Okay.
It's not like Disney Plus where they eventually had Hulu and other stuff. It's clearly just going to be whatever songs are from the games Nintendo releases.
All right. Well, hey, I'll check that out. Hey, listeners, check that out too when you get the chance. So that's been the plug of the week. Juan, this has been great, man. Seriously. Glad we were able to collaborate, talk about some Marvel stuff. Actually, talk glowingly about Marvel for once. So yeah, so I thank you, Juan, for joining us. And I thank you, listeners. Seriously, all of you guys that listen to us every week. So once again, you catch us on Spotify and also on YouTube. We're actually setting up our social media, so you look out for that, where you can find just clips for our shows, little like funny videos we'll have. We're gonna have that stuff going, not just this year, not just starting now, but going into the next year, 2025. Big stuff coming out. So once again, you can also find us again on Spotify under the name It Was Mooney. And I've been Kosi, and I've been joined always by Juan A B. And until next time, guys, adios.
Adios, y'all.